So it is frustrating that the food system is the way it is because we can't just go out and enjoy
a raw vegan spread that tastes amazing in any restaurant.
Anything. Yeah.
Right. I wish the restaurants would really serve real food.
Yeah.
Welcome. I'm Erin Andrus with the Sanctuary Holistic Wellness. We're cleansing the human experience. And today's episode, I'm so excited for. I have Miss Jalynn Schroeder on the podcast. Jalynn is, to me, an incredible being. She has opened gateways, floodgates, really. Not just gateways, floodgates into my life of connection and people and healing. And I'm so happy to have you on. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah. So about a year ago, it was almost exactly a year ago, where you, and Jalynn, if none of you know Jalynn, we'll link her stuff at the end of the podcast, but she has a massive following because she's vulnerable and authentic with what she's doing in life and her journey. And it's so neat to see how many people are able to connect to what you're doing and heal themselves through you. And so it was awesome when she found me. You were doing the 10-day detox, and you decided to do it in person.
Yeah.
And you went online and said, hey, everybody, I'm going to do this 10-day Parasite and heavy metal detox.
And share everything that came out.
You shared.
Which I don't think anyone was doing at that point.
Yeah, no, not really sharing. No,
Yeah.
It was still even scary for me to share at points. Like I would always share here and there with my people, but yeah, I wasn't even sharing that much because when you're sharing your
stuff coming out,
your releases, people can be hard on you about it sometimes and say, hey, I don't want to see that.
It does feel vulnerable.
It does feel vulnerable. Yeah. But you posted everything and it was so awesome. And first of all, thank you for connecting me to the world.
You're welcome.
And secondly, how was it for you going through the 10-day, your very first time?
So the very first time, I'm like a 100% all-in type of person. So my friend actually told me about you, Kaylee.
I love her.
And she didn't even do the cleanse. She just did one colonic and she was like, this was awesome. I had this come out and this come out. And I was like, okay. So of course I texted you, looked at what you offered, and I went all in. I was like, 10 days, sign me up. Let's go. And it was intense. I think when you're doing cleansing like this, it really shows you the areas of your life that have control over you, whether it's food or anything, really, anything.
What did you find that you had, like, what was at that time in your season had the biggest control over you?
Food. Still does.
Yeah.
I have a very
for all of
hard
us,
relationship with food. And I've come so far, and I will say that first detox helped me better my relationship with food. And I've been on a clean eating healing journey for probably like 4 or 5 years now. So even then I was still like, oh my gosh, like I realized my day revolves around food. I'm like, when's it lunchtime? Right. I want to go, it's like the pleasure of eating food.
It feels so good.
Yeah. You realize that this thing has control over you. And during the cleanse, you have to break that.
Yeah.
You have no choice.
No choice.
So that was probably the most intense thing. Obviously the mental and emotional part of it was difficult. I mean, I would say every part of it.
What day would you say, do you remember being the hardest? Your very first?
Probably the first day, and then probably the last couple days, because you're like, oh my gosh, I still have 2 more days. I got this. I got this. But this is my 3rd time cleansing, and I will say this has been my most enjoyable.
Good.
But I feel like I'm learning. Yeah. I'm learning what to surrender. I'm learning what my body likes. And staying hydrated with, the coconut water, just things that are helping me stay more hydrated and tuning into my body more. So this one has definitely been my most enjoyable experience so far.
I love that. I feel like my very favorite still was my 4th.
Your 4th cleanse overall?
Overall, I got the most out. I felt the best. I was releasing the deepest. And
Is that when you did 4 days or 4 months in a row?
It was, I had done, it was not quite all in a row, but it was, pretty consecutively. and it felt so good. But so your fourth one, I'm excited. I feel like it takes like about 40 colonics to really find the gold.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's just my experience.
Well,
but
I'm ready. I'm already planning my next one. I'm only halfway through. I'm like, hey, when's the next one?
And then Sonder, your husband, he's incredible. I loved working with him also. You two are a power couple.
Thank you.
And he instantly saw like how he instantly wanted to do it when you started because he saw the change.
Yeah, we very much have a relationship like that, though. I feel like sometimes men are a little more stubborn in their ways of like, this is weird. I'm not doing this. And then he sees, I'm like, can I show you what came out, though? And then he starts seeing what comes out. And then he's like, okay.
Yeah.
You know, he saw me change in many different ways. And he saw it helped my health. I've had a lot of like gut issues and after my second one, so the second time I did 15 days. Yeah. I think I took like a day or two break. Yeah. And then did 5 more days. That's the best I felt in my adult life.
Oh my gosh. That's a profound statement.
Bad life choices.
Okay. What were tell me about those. Tell us about those.
Oh, you guys. Okay. So I had a trip to Antigua.
Okay.
With a company I work for.
What's the company?
Amari.
Okay. Do you still work for them?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I earned this trip. It's like this just luxury fun trip. And I had alcohol every single day while I was on that trip and it destroyed my gut.
Oh, yeah.
So I went from feeling my absolute best to my absolute worst. And dang, that was a huge regret. And that trip though was what made me stop drinking alcohol.
Okay. There you go. You needed that to be like, no more.
And I wasn't drinking it very often. It was usually just, like those situations. If we go to Mexico, I'll have a couple of drinks. If we go out with friends, so it was very occasional. But that trip, I was just like, no, like my body just says no right now.
Yes, it's fascinating the toxicity alcohol will bring into the gut and then into the mind, and even we extract because we make herbs and tinctures. How much alcohol will extract from a plant. You can't imagine what it's doing to the inside of your body, trying to extract everything, and then the flukes that thrive off of it, and then the sugars that continue to be fed from. And alcohol, that's a big one to break. So good job.
Yeah. It's it will be a year in April.
Okay. So everybody who's doing the cleanse, done the cleanse, and still drinks alcohol, knowing to be careful to not, go from feeling your absolute best to your absolute worst, just really helping your gut repair and listening.
Listen to your body. Be intuitive with those things.
Yeah. The light spectra bed, there is on frequency 10. Tomorrow, try frequency 10. It's internal wisdom.
Okay.
And I did it the other day in my pineal gland. I was just galaxies. All I could see was galaxies and stars. And anyways, my intuition was like expanding. I could feel it. I was like, yes. But being intuitive. And you're a Leo.
Yes.
So you're very heart-centered.
Yes.
And then your moon's in Taurus. I did energy with Jalynn, so I know these is okay that I share.
Yeah, totally.
Yes. So her moon's in Taurus, so she has a voice, a very powerful one, and things to say. And when you don't use your voice, your thyroid will be affected.
I actually get a sore throat.
Get a sore throat even.
I wake up with a sore throat, and as soon as I speak my truth, or as soon as I share what I'm supposed to share, it goes away.
Boom.
Every time.
It's
kind of crazy.
Your emotions are just right here.
I know. I know.
Yeah, your power's there, girl. And you have so much good stuff to say. What got you really starting on sharing your journey with people to be so vulnerable and authentic and, what got you there?
So my first marriage actually got me there. I needed a space. I actually started blogging clear back in the day. This was right when Instagram started growing, 2009, 2008.
And you were just inspired to just
I
share
I needed a place that I could just speak.
Yeah.
There wasn't anything at that point, and so I started blogging.
Go back to your first marriage for a sec. Sorry. How long were you married?
2.5 years.
Okay. Did you have kids?
No. Miscarriage.
Okay.
No kids.
Was that a very traumatic?
That is a big story. Yes, it was traumatic, but I had just found out that he cheated on me. And so it was
my gosh.
I actually didn't know I had a miscarriage. In the moment, I missed my period for several months. And then I had tons of bleeding, and I just thought it was stress and buildup of not having a period, just so naive.
Yeah.
Wasn't on birth control. And several years later, probably 8, I was doing a plant medicine journey and the whole thing was like shown to me.
Wow.
Like the baby,
That
the soul came
was
to
your
me
miscarriage.
and everything
Holy.
that happened. So it all made sense now, but I think I just dissiociated from everything.
And on top of that, he
even-
had cheated on you.
Yeah.
So there was all this trauma.
There was a lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Where do you feel in your body as we talked about, like just brought that up?
It's
Everywhere?
just a part of my journey. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just a part of my journey.
I love it. Good job getting through.
I'm grateful. I'm grateful for that part of my journey.
Yeah.
'Cause
Divorce is hard.
I wouldn't be where I'm at
Okay.
without it.
Okay. Good work. I just love you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Oh, back to this where I was sharing.
Yes, you're blogging.
Yeah.
Sharing
so
everything.
I needed somewhere to share about my
And were you
divorce.
sharing about your divorce?
I was.
Okay.
And that made people so uncomfortable and
Yes.
so mad.
Yeah.
And I still shared.
Good.
And I have been through so many different things, just anything from like health things to, I mean, everything. I've shared a lot of things.
So when people get mad
Mhm.
at you for sharing, it didn't shut your voice down. You still shared, or because I know for me and a lot of people, that's one reason why we don't share. Like we're scared of what people are going to think, right? So how do you like break past the stop sharing that? That's uncomfortable for all of us. How do you, so that we, can feel okay to share our stories and journeys and let others reflect off that?
I think it's just continuing to do the inner work, because the more I'm confident in myself and the more I love myself, the more that I realize everything that I share, has so much heart behind it. And if someone's mad about that, like that's their own issue. That's them projecting onto me. But also at the same time, easier said than done, right? Like when everyone's coming at me, like when I was posting about the Parasite cleanse, that got intense.
That was intense.
Like I had doctors messaging me telling me I'm going to kill people and I shouldn't be, like just like death threats. Like I had so much stuff coming at me.
I know. I almost couldn't believe it.
And I was like, oh,
it was a whole nother world I couldn't understand.
Yeah. And I had a reel go viral about my gallbladder cleanse, just sharing the gallbladder cleanse.
Yeah.
And that one got crazy. That one got up to 8 million and it was growing like 1 million per month and it didn't stop. And so I finally turned the comments off. Sometimes I just feel like it's okay to have boundaries.
Yes.
I just couldn't mentally handle it anymore because it was getting so crazy. And so I just turned the comments off and it died down.
So sharing so vulnerably, you do have a next level of commitment to the stress or what you're going to take on in those comments and connecting to everyone.
But that is a huge reason I'm here. Like I'm a 5'1" in human design.
Okay.
You know about human design?
Yeah.
Right?
And you're a manifesting generator or a
generator?
Okay.
Yep. And as a 5'1", I think it's the 5, right? The 5 that you're just projected on, period.
Okay.
So like I am a mirror to people no matter what. Even if I go do a service project out of nothing but love, it's going to trigger someone. Mm-hmm. And so that's part of my journey. Like I was listening to a podcast the other day and she said, 5'1" is the only one I would never want to be. And it just made me laugh. Oof. But it was funny. It was
good
funny,
job, girl. You're like, funny. I am powerful. I can do this.
But I was just like, it's validating though to know that. Like it's that people are going to project on me and it has nothing to do about me. And it happens on a weekly basis. So I just have to detach from what other people think of me.
Yeah.
And it gets harder when it's people That's hard.
The hardest.
Yeah.
What's been the hardest moment from someone what they've said to you I know mine. And
I think leaving Mormonism was probably...
How long ago was that?
That was 4 or 5 years ago. 5 years ago.
Okay.
5-6 years ago. So, that was probably the hardest for me because I lost my entire friend group. It felt like overnight. And that was hard because you think that those are your friends and they love you for you. And just because I made a different choice.
Right.
And they were gone. But it was the biggest blessing of my life. I realized how surface level those relationships were compared to what was coming. All my relationships now are so like have so much depth to it.
Yeah.
And so much honesty and vulnerability.
Yeah.
And those relationships were, we would gossip.
Right.
And talk about other people and just things that didn't matter.
So good to just let that go and see that. So, and leaving the church was a huge, what is your biggest trauma? Can we ask? Would that be your biggest trauma, you think? The church?
Yeah. Because that was like embedded in every part of my life.
Yeah.
It was, it was how I ate. It was how I talked. It was my relationships. Like when I got divorced the first time, that was my list of what I want in a husband is make sure he's a returned missionary and that I can get married in the temple. Like those were my requirements again. Yeah. So I did it again.
Okay.
Luckily.
Yeah.
life has shifted, but
you and Sonder, you got married in the temple?
yeah.
Okay. And then you left together.
I left.
You left.
I left.
And and Sonder hadn't left.
No.
So how was that in your moments?
It was not good. The first thing he said was, I think we need to get divorced. He remembers a little differently. He remembers just saying like, well, should we get divorced? I remember him saying, you know, maybe we need to get divorced. Anyways.
How upsetting was that in that moment?
Oh, it was really rough.
Yeah.
And it was already rough to begin with.
Right.
And I had told him I'm having questions. And he's like,
faith
okay.
crisis is never an easy thing to feel.
No. So he was like, hey, let's sit down. I'll answer your questions. And then the next day I was just done. And when I'm done, like I told you earlier, I'm I'm all in or all out.
Yeah.
And when I was done, I was done. And so I told him that happened. I had to tell my parents, which was awful. They basically just said, we don't want to know why, and we never want to talk about this again. And they still, to this day, have not said a word about it.
And wait. Okay. Let's just
there's so many layers
for a
here.
second about that one. Whew. Yeah. Okay. That one for me would be so traumatic and tough. I know what I went through with my parents at that time, but still you can't talk about it with them.
I mean, I think they would talk about it. We just don't really have it's a very surface level relationship.
Okay. And when you do start getting deeper about your spirituality or what you're practicing, we
don't really have those conversations.
You don't even have those conversations. Okay.
My mom did do the cleanse. She came in and worked with you twice.
I love her.
They're actually doing a lot of shifting in their life. Like they've moved to clean eating, and I think I've inspired them to, my mom just texted me and said she wants to do the cleanse again. So
oh my gosh, I love
do it
that.
in a few weeks.
Dion.
So
you're amazing. We go way back to when I realized your mom was Dion,
photography,
because we did photography together years ago, and I was like, what? So the connection for you and me is just, I love it.
Yeah. The relationships are hard though.
Yeah.
I mean, we've just never broken surface. And I think it's just because of how I was raised. I never felt safe to be vulnerable or show my emotions.
Yeah.
And, I know they were doing the best they could do.
Yeah.
And they held space for me for how they knew how to. And we just shift and we heal and we do things differently for our kids.
Yeah. I noticed for me and my parents, it was more, just me openly talking about God. Yeah. With them. Yeah. So it will be interesting and good when maybe you have those moments. It's expansive.
Yeah.
But let's talk you and your kids, because we got Charlie and Dash.
Yeah.
They're so cute.
So cute.
And are you very open with them about?
So open.
Okay.
Everything.
Yeah,
everything.
Nice.
Yeah. We have really good, deep conversations. We're allowing them to kind of find what they believe.
Love that.
And we're just really open with them. And it's just a completely different dynamic.
Yeah. Okay.
So.
And Dash, I remember he's a Leo like you.
Yes.
And remind me, Charlie, she's Sag?
She's a Sag.
Okay. She's a little fiery.
Yes. Our whole house is fire
you're all
signs.
fire.
Yeah.
Okay. That's right. Yeah. Because Saunders Aries.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. You guys are
just lots of fire in our house.
Lots of fire.
All generators. All
That's
fire.
That's really cool. You got a lot of energy going on.
We do.
Yeah. I know we kind of veered and we were talking about Mormonism and leaving the church.
Yeah.
And do you still talk about that a lot on your platform?
I don't as much anymore because I feel like I've healed a lot of it. And so it just doesn't feel like I need to keep hitting it with a whatever.
Yeah.
I'll bring up stuff every once in a while. Like when I was on that Antigua trip.
Yeah.
I wore this dress and I just felt so beautiful. And I remember I didn't feel like this at my wedding. I didn't feel like this going to dances at school.
Yeah.
I didn't ever feel beautiful. And so this moment, I shared on Instagram and it was just that moment when I get to wear this beautiful dress. And I don't remember what the reel said. I got a lot of hate on the reel.
But it was such a get to feel.
Yeah, it was a healing moment for me. I get to choose what I wear, how I show up in the world.
Yeah.
I get to choose those things now. I'm in full control and it's not following these rules of, a belief system that I struggled with always.
Yeah. I always struggled with it too. And I'm glad it's there for those that need it.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. And it's a good stepping stone into diving into your inner work.
That's how I feel too.
Yeah. Okay. And then you're very successful in business and you always have been in everything you kind of put your
It's my Leo.
yeah.
My astrology massage, she was like, you have a lot of Leo. So things should be fairly easy for you.
And what's amazing is you aligned the full moon in Leo today on this podcast
I love
day.
that.
So I was like, of course. I was sitting in the sun earlier, just kind of recharging. I'm like, of course, it's so good. You got big with Synergence.
Yeah, network marketing, makeup,
yes,
makeup and skincare. Yeah.
Okay, and then from there you quit.
I quit. I walked away from like $110 million business because it just didn't.
Were you their number one?
Yeah,
you were their number one seller.
Mm-hmm.
What does that feel like? To be like,
it was a cool experience.
Girl.
There was a lot of learning in there.
Yeah.
There was a lot of pain in there. I really attached my identity to the business. And so when I left, it felt like I was leaving another religion. Like I had to learn another lesson of not attaching myself to something. But when I left, another business opportunity came, and the door was just so clear to me. Yeah. And so walking away from that income and that business I had spent 7 years building, it was just a no-brainer. And that's something I love about myself. It's like when I know the path, I will leave whatever behind if it's not serving me anymore. Like I can make decisions. Like once I decide, like I'm all in.
What was the ultimate decision to leave?
The ultimate decision, I had just felt very uneasy about the products just weren't aligning with my lifestyle anymore, like my health and wellness lifestyle. Got you. And I wasn't feeling like I was giving back to my community by just constantly teaching about makeup and skincare. Gotcha. And I'm a Leo. I love makeup and skincare. I love fashion. I love all those things, but I didn't want that to be my sole focus or my purpose. Like it's not my purpose. Like I want to help people better their lives. Yeah. And so I was feeling uneasy for probably like 2 years, just trying to figure out what was next. And then when the door came, I mean, I just jumped.
What was the new door?
So it was Amari.
Okay.
Happy Juice.
Okay, yeah.
So it's a health and wellness drink.
Yes.
So probiotics, nootropics.
It helped your gut so much, right?
Oh my gosh, so much. I lost like 18 pounds in 3 months.
Amazing.
And speaking of, my dad, finally, after 2 years, just started drinking it and lost like 15 pounds.
Oh, I love that.
Stubborn men taking 2 years to try something.
Yeah, they always are a little behind. That's okay. Yeah,
we love them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I tried it because I saw the benefits. I saw friends posting about it and I tried it, and I was not in a great place at that time. I was just feeling, like I was lost. I didn't feel like I had a purpose. I didn't know what's coming next. I was just in that limbo phase, and that doesn't ever feel good, especially when I'm a generator and Leo and I'm just like ready to go and create. Yeah. And so I drank it for a week and I was like, it was crazy. Like my brain fog lifted. I felt alive again. And I'm like, I have to share this.
I love that.
And so I literally just left the other business. And the other business didn't allow me to do anything like any other businesses. So that's why I walked away from it.
I see.
So if they would have let me stay, like maybe I would have just done it on the side.
But you wouldn't have been able to do Happy Juice.
Yeah.
I see.
So I had to make a decision. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did people think you were crazy being the number one and then just leaving?
I mean, I heard it rocked the company. Wow. And I'm sure a lot of my team ended up leaving. Wow. But I mean, that wasn't my intention. I had nothing but good things to say about my experience. But it's like, I think people get very attached to things and don't allow themselves to walk through new doors. And that's there's so much growth behind new doors. And sometimes we have to leave behind things, which is very uncomfortable. So walking away from money, people are like, you're crazy. I know. You're like, but then I ended up doubling
a bigger pile over this way.
But I didn't even know that though at that time. Like I was just starting from zero. Wow. And then it just exploded because I chose into what was right for me.
You chose more into your heart. Yeah. More into your alignment, and boom, the channels, the floodgates again.
And now I'm in that same spot right now.
I'm feeling a little. Talk about that.
I'm feeling a little feeling a little uneasy, and it's not that the products I'm sharing don't align, because they very much do align, and I still will share them like on the side. Yes. But I'm not feeling called to build businesses anymore in that space. Like I just don't want to be on Zoom calls. Okay. Like that doesn't feel good to me. Yeah. Being Zoom calls all day. I don't want to drag people and teach people how to do business. I know how to do business. I know how to market. I know how to do all these things, but I don't want to drag people, you know? So I'm just
What do you
in a
feel?
limbo phase.
Okay.
I
And
don't
last time I
know.
talked to you, you were kind of telling me the unraveling was happening.
Yeah.
And you feel it even more.
But it's exciting,
so it's
though.
exciting for you.
Yeah. So instead of getting depressed like last time, because I'm like, oh, I don't have a purpose, it's more like, okay, what's coming next? This is exciting.
Oh, I love that.
And I think the energy that we're in as a collective right now, like the Pluto and Aquarius energy,
yes,
it is destruction. Like things are falling away, not only collectively, but on a personal level that no longer serve us. And that is so relevant to me right now,
yes.
too.
And it can be a good thing. I think a lot of people
totally.
feel so uncomfortable and it gets really crazy in the body to feel, but ultimately it's rebirth and metamorphosis, transformation, and everything that is good for the heart, ultimately.
And leaning into that is so beautiful.
Leaning into it and trust.
Yes.
And trust sits in the thyroid so deep, and you're a thyroid girl, and you ascend in Cancer. So you have so much home and nourishment to give the world.
Yeah.
And you have been helping so many people for a while, just point them in the directions of, hey, this and this. And you have a podcast right now that you're doing with your friend.
Mm-hmm.
And I love it. I'm excited to listen.
Yeah, it's fun.
Has it already released?
Yeah, we have 6 episodes out.
Okay, amazing. I love that.
Yeah.
And we're on day 5, brain day.
Yes.
What has been so you've like this cleanse, what so far has been your biggest moment?
Yesterday.
Okay.
So I feel like the theme was doing inner, I don't want to say child because it's not child work, but in my 20s.
Yeah.
So there's a trend going around on like TikTok and Instagram.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you've seen it. I posted my reel yesterday, but it's basically like I met my younger self for coffee.
Yeah.
And you basically just write, who you were then versus now. And I cried for like 2 hours.
Wow.
And Sonder cried. He was like, this is so powerful. I'm like, I know. So
okay.
I had so many like younger themes coming up. And I chose to do age 24, which is right when I got divorced. And I like cut my hair because I was hiding behind my bangs, trying to just be invisible, like feeling like nothing was going to work out. And so like I wrote to that person. And
wow.
Can I read it?
Yes.
Oh, I don't have my phone.
I have my.
Do you have your phone? Yeah. Just go to my Instagram. I just feel like this is the most powerful thing. I posted this on Instagram, but everyone should do this even if you're not going to post it, because I don't know of any more powerful work. Okay, I'm going to cry. Gosh, okay.
Do it.
I met my younger self for coffee today. She almost canceled last minute. Now I'm not going to be able to talk.
It's okay. You can cry.
She was nervous, unsure. I told her I would meet her in the parking lot so she wouldn't have to walk in alone. She ordered a lemonade because her religion doesn't allow coffee. I ordered an iced skinny spice chai latte. She told me she had just cut bangs, and not because she wanted them, but because she needed something to hide behind, something she felt like she had control over. I smiled and told her, one day you'll have every hair color under the sun. You'll even shave your head and you won't feel the need to hide anymore. She asked me if I would ever find her place in the world, if she would ever find people who truly saw her and honored her. I reached across the table, took her hand, and told her yes. I pulled out my phone. This part gets me the most. Showing her my lock screen, a picture of my husband and kids. Life never gets easy, I told her, but it gets better than you can ever imagine. As we hugged goodbye, I whispered, be true to yourself, fully and wholly. The right people and opportunities will always come. I'm proud of her for trying so hard, for never giving up. I hope we meet again soon.
That's profound. Okay.
So everyone should do that.
That is really cool.
Yeah.
That's a really cool practice.
I probably cried for like 2 hours yesterday.
Okay.
Just like acknowledging like the pain,
Yeah.
Of different timelines.
And then her being able to see you, feel you, and know what you're going to become and get strength from that.
I know that it always ends up okay, no matter what.
Yes. Oh, that's so powerful.
I'm sweating now.
I love that. I used to always do with clients when we do energy work, I would make them go back to visit their child self.
Yeah.
And so that though, like the 24-year-old girl who was traumatized from her, because you mean your marriage and you just get divorced from the person you thought you were going to grow old with, that you just chose into, didn't work out.
And 20s is such a hard, I don't know. I feel like my 30s has been so great, but 20s was so hard. Yeah. Because you're trying to figure out who you are. Yeah, you really don't. Relationships are coming. Love yourself quite enough yet. Yeah. So I think I talk about inner child work all the time, but I've never thought to do work around my 20s.
That's beautiful.
And so that was so powerful. And I'm going to go back and do that. Like for any age that pops up, I'm totally going to do that and just write it in my journal.
Do you have groups that you'll go online with and work with people on doing that and helping them with that exercise? Because that's powerful.
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
Everyone needs to do it.
Everybody needs to do that. And I'm like, I'm going to write myself a letter.
Yeah, you should.
And on day 4, you were on digestion day. So just really deeply letting go and connecting. Digestion day is like most hard for most people. Yeah. So I'm glad you got a good release.
Just digesting my whole life.
Connecting. And good job. Okay. And Sonder even got a good release from it.
Yeah.
So the whole house is just really thriving. Yeah. The frequency is so high.
Yeah.
Good. Okay. And then your second cleanse. Yeah. What would you say was your hardest day then?
I feel like that one was a little bit of a blur.
I know. Was Sonder doing that with you too on the second one? Yeah.
So the first time he did the last 5 days because he, was like, I don't know about this.
Yes.
And then on day 5, he's like, okay, I'm doing this with you. So he did the second half of my 10 days. So he only did 5 days. And then he did the full 10 days the second time.
Yeah, that's right. So, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was that when your second cleanse was after you went on your trip?
Before.
It
was literally like 2 weeks before. So
that was your second time.
Yeah, I felt so good for those 2 weeks.
Okay. It's the best when you feel so alive in your body and like life is just magical and you love it.
It's just clear.
Just wait for those moments to just be like, yes.
Yeah, that's the best way to describe it is clear. I feel very light.
Yeah.
And not necessarily in a physical sense, even though, a little bit because you're releasing so much, but on like a spiritual, emotional, energetic level, I feel so light.
Yes.
I mean, even the first 3 days of this cleanse, I lost 7 pounds the first 3 days. And I know my body was just holding on to so much inflammation.
Right.
And so as soon as I, said yes and went into this cleanse, I just.
They say the human colon and intestines can hold up to 25 pounds of
I believe it.
Just mucoid plaque alone. So
that's wild.
And you lost 7 pounds just the first time. Yeah. So good. I know I lost a lot of weight too. I wasn't, I don't know how much I lost my very first, but, and weight for me, I've always fluctuated. But now that I'm older, I've been able to, I really have maintained. And when I'm doing the diet and the detox, it really helps a lot. How about you with weight?
I feel like I used to fluctuate a lot more.
Yeah.
Weight's been a hard one for me. Not that I track the numbers on the scale, but I can tell when I'm getting inflamed.
Yeah.
And that's been hard. I've had a lot of gut issues and I just haven't been able to figure out exactly what's going on. And I finally went to a doctor.
Yeah.
And it was such a waste of time. I did all the tests, all the things. And he told me after all of that to drink Metamucil 3 times a day.
What?
I was so upset.
The ingredients in Metamucils, like citric acid's the first thing, isn't it?
And there's orange dye.
Yeah, okay.
I was like, so you're telling me after I just did all those tests to drink Metamucil.
All that money.
So, and then they just slap on could be IBS, could be SIBO. They just slap on a random thing and then send you on your way. And I'm like, I was so upset. But then I just confirmed I need to listen to my body.
Yeah.
I'm not saying there's not a time and place for doctors because there is.
Yeah.
But for the most part,
right,
I feel like being intuitive and focusing on the healing, like in and out, has to be priority.
Yeah, and there's this season. We go through seasons and moments every day, and the body's always in flux and changing every moment. There's so many layers and conditions and patterns. So if you're gonna, you just have to go internal and wait it out a minute as you go internal instead of. I know a lot of people just want to instantly go to Instacare when their ear won't stop aching for 2 days. But give it a second, breathe into it. What does it need?
Yeah,
there's things, but
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
I get this question a lot.
Yeah.
I guess a statement a lot.
Okay.
So people get very discouraged watching me being very healthy, constantly moving, always detoxing, and I still have stuff coming out.
Yeah.
So what would you say to those people? I know that healing is not, it's not a one and done thing, and we're constantly being exposed.
Constantly. And it keeps compounding, right? And depending on your diet, I think a lot of people don't understand if you continue to feed, it's going to continue to grow. And so if you're going, it really is just like if you're, depending on how clean your diet is, and that's going to be how clean your intestines is, how clean your cells can be, how hydrated your body's going to be. Because really what we're trying to do is be hydrated and get fresh mineral water. And that's going to come from the foods, not the tap water. Your body's trying to squeeze it out of your food. So it's really diet first and foremost. And if you can keep a really clean diet, it's going to help so much. But for me, I know I have a really clean diet now, but I didn't for the first 30 years of my life.
And that's what I tell people. Like a lot of countries deworm twice a year since 2 years old.
Exactly.
And we just started in our 30s. So like we have a whole lifetime of buildup.
And the processed American diet is insane. It's insane. So So for the first 30 years of my life, I'm still cleaning out. I'm still getting stuff out. Now, my last colonic was really, I mean, I even went live with it. Some of you were on it. It was really clean, other than I still get stones. Yeah. I still get gall and liver stones because and I talked about this in a couple of episodes, but I get angry sometimes. Yeah. Sometimes a lot, a little. I'm very peaceful, calm, and love is what I practice. But the emotion that always instantly rises in me first is anger when something's not going my way. And I have to instantly recognize it and say, okay, breathe into it and move from there. And I that's why I cry all the time. People are like, why do you cry all the time? It's like, because I don't want to be angry. Yeah. But stones are specific to anger. Oh. And so every colonic, I have so many stones. And like the last colonic, I just had thousands of babies just ready to keep growing. But luckily I have the colonic bed and I can get them out. Yeah. So I think it's not just one thing, right? My body, like I eat so clean, but my body's still always processing stones. And I think everyone's so different. And so it's not just a one and done thing.
Well, there's stuff we can't control, like the air.
Exactly.
And I mean, there are things we can control, but there's things we can't control.
And then constantly, right, the heavy metals, the microplastics, the chemicals, all of it. Yeah. And you turn a box around of food, you have to read the ingredients. It's not food. Your food's the vegetables and the fruits that are fresh, that are right there from the earth. Yeah. So if we can stay away from the boxes, if we can stay away from the fast foods in the restaurants, if you can make your food at home and you're going to do so much better. And the detoxing isn't going to have to be bad. But if you're going to continue to live the lifestyle that you're living and eating the things that you're living, and, the cycles and patterns and emotions, then you're going to need to continue to detox if you want to maintain a certain lifestyle. Yeah. So, I think it's always just kind of continuous.
There's layers. And I think
so many layers.
There's never going to be a black and white answer, which is what people want.
Right.
They want, you only have to do this 3 times and you're good the rest of your life. But that's not the reality.
No, it's not. And these are just my theories. Yeah. And these are just your theories and the things of our experiences. And, I've worked with thousands of clients and seen that there is not one that doesn't have so much waste, bacteria, and parasites. And so my theory is we all have so much, especially from the diet. Yeah. And then all root disease, in my theory, comes from, childhood trauma or the trauma that's happened in your life that you're going to hang on to. But for the first 8 years of your life, when your brain's in theta, it's just being programmed. So you're living out conditioned cycles and patterns that aren't maybe serving you now, then the body's keeping score and it's going to create disease from that. And then the food just compounds it. And then the worms will they'll they'll reproduce rapidly depending on your diet is the thing. So if you can keep a clean diet, they can't thrive and live in your body because they're eating you alive, essentially.
So I think the safe thing to say is maybe switch the mindset of I have to do this to we get to take care of our body in this way.
Exactly.
It's just like it's a practice. It's a part of our practice, a tool.
It's my lifestyle. Yeah. I eat raw vegan. I do colonics regular. I take binder regularly. I take all the tinctures regularly. So it's kind of my lifestyle, and I feel so good all the time.
Good.
So, and when I stopped doing or if I eat cooked foods, I instantly am like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
I'm gassy, I'm bloated. I feel just certain ways. So I just know what works for me, and I know what, helps everyone thrive. So
Well, you're a rock star, because I
Thank
feel like
you.
that is really hard,
thank you.
because it's hard for me when friends want to go out to dinner,
So hard. And you want to
yeah.
indulge and you want to
Yeah.
enjoy, but
Well, we're here to be human and to live. So it is frustrating that the food system is the way it is, because we can't just go out and enjoy
a raw vegan
Yeah.
spread that tastes amazing in any restaurant.
Anything. Yeah.
Right. I wish the restaurants would really serve real food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And not like covered in seed oils, even if it is real food. Just
I want like raw living organic restaurants everywhere.
Yes.
That you can go in and get a cinnamon roll, but it's made out of dates and it's made out of the right kind of things, and it's only been dehydrated, not cooked. And we can be really thriving if we want to be as a society and collective. And I think hopefully we are making shifts.
I think we are.
Yeah. Right?
I think, and I hope.
Yeah. Tell me about your theories of the collective.
I mean, I think we can see things shifting. A lot of people are talking about health and food. And I've never seen as many conversations about disease in America. I read somewhere the other day, it was like 1 out of 3 people are going to be diagnosed with cancer in their lifetime by like 2030 or something.
That's insane.
And I was like, this is the road that we're going on in America. And so I really do think people are starting to ask questions.
Yeah.
But not everyone.
Right.
But hopefully enough.
Shifting a bit.
Yeah. Hopefully enough people, like all the commercials during the Super Bowl gave me hope.
Okay. I didn't watch it. What was like the best one that you were like, okay.
I was actually listening to a book, holding my husband's hand. Okay. That's like that was our time. I was like, I don't want to watch the Super Bowl, but I'll hold your hand while I listen to my book.
Yes.
But I did look up during commercials, and I saw it was just talking about the rates, like disease and all these things that were happening that weren't happening 50 years ago. Autoimmune issues, hormone issues, just all these things. And the fact that that's being brought up during the Super Bowl,
bringing awareness.
Yeah. That's cool. That isn't that the most watched program ever?
And I think it costs like $100 million to have an ad on the Super Bowl. Yeah.
So I don't know who is sharing that information, but it gave me hope.
Yeah, that's cool. Someone's bringing that awareness out. Okay. Yeah. The collective is shifting. Yeah. Thanks for waking up, everybody.
Yay. Thank you. Thank you. Please keep going.
For real, right? And I mean, I see and feel and visualize you so in this open heart space that you're in, helping others, and continue to do that. Where do you see yourself expanding in the future? But do you have that vision?
Well, I have a vision, but also I'm staying very open to the universe. I mean, I deeply want to have purposeful work, and I have been shown time and time again through spiritual experiences that I am here to like use my voice and share my story. And I've even been told, whatever you want to call it, that a lot of the health things I've gone through are not necessarily because of anything I've done, but to show other people how to move through them and move through them quickly and how to listen to their body. And so that's been powerful for me too. I mean, sometimes I get frustrated, but then sometimes I'm like, okay, there's purpose behind the things that are happening. Like I have moved through so many things, like PCOS.
Wow.
That one was a big one.
How long did that take you?
Well, that was kind of like the tipping point of when I started asking questions, because they sent me home with a prescription.
Okay.
And I took it for a couple of days, and I did not feel good. And so I was like, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
And so I set it aside, and I got on Instagram and I searched and found an account talking about PCOS and cutting out gluten and dairy, which they never said anything in the doctor's office about diet at all. Right. So I cut out gluten, dairy, processed, anything. I lost 20 pounds.
Amazing.
I had 20 cysts on my ovaries.
Just from cutting out gluten and dairy, you lost 20 pounds.
Yeah. Well, they told me I wasn't going to be able to get pregnant on my own. And we had been trying.
Was this before you had kids?
This was before Dash.
Okay.
So I didn't have it with Char. So after it presented itself.
Okay.
So yeah, they said I wouldn't be able to get pregnant without IVF. And I had like 20 cysts on my ovaries. So like big deal.
20 cysts.
So between all that, first of all, I got pregnant immediately. And then and all the cysts were gone. So they did a scan and everything was gone.
Amazing.
And they were like,
just from your diet
medication?
change.
I was like, no, I literally just changed my diet. That was it.
What did the doc say? Just
They're just ignorant.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Good
I told them,
girl.
I'm like, you guys did, like, nobody said anything to me about diet at all. No one mentioned anything. You sent me home with a prescription that made me feel awful. I've just had so many instances of those. So being able to share those has helped other people. Like, oh, like diet is tied to so many things. As soon as you shift that, you're going to see a lot of changes. Yeah. And so I have a hard time. I've seen a lot of friends go through IVF and they eat so terrible, but I don't feel it's my place to be like, hey, you need to change this, because people have to change on their own. They do. So I just hope to inspire people to make changes and to I don't know. It's hard. It's hard to watch, honestly.
It is hard. It's one of the hardest things when you see the loved ones or the people around you just making the choices that you've already experienced, that you know how to help them through, but you can't interject or it won't work. No. Their conviction's already that. And it's until they reach out. Yeah. Yeah. But
they have to make the decision on their own.
That's one of the biggest questions and things I get from people who say, Erin, I want to help my dad. I want to help my mom. I want to help this. I want to help that. And I said, wait for them. Just do you. Yeah. And wait for them to recognize. Or you can start implementing and communicating what you're doing and see how they respond. Yeah. But if they don't respond, don't react to it. Just do you. Yeah. So
I always say, shine your light so bright that other people want to know what you're doing.
Exactly. So I love that.
That's what I've done.
Just shine it right. And making people feel good and allowing them to be them is.
Shame and fear never change people's minds. Yeah. So you just have to shine your light and let them see. Yeah. You change, and that will inspire them to change. They'll think of you when they're like, okay, I'm ready for a change. I don't want to feel like this anymore.
Like, and then they'll think
of the person that they heard it from.
Yeah, I love that. Okay. You inspire so much change when so many people for so long. So hearing that is awesome. I love that.
It's been a journey.
Yeah.
It's like a human science experiment.
And I feel it's just only kind of starting for you. Like it's been so expansive and it's just really kind of like.
Yeah. I'm intrigued. I mean, I'm even intrigued. I don't know where I'm heading. I don't have like any specific thing. So I'm just like, what's coming? You know what I mean? Yeah, it is exciting.
I love that. Yeah. And then what is Sonder working on?
So he's doing Buffed.
Yes, Buffed energy drink that's made out of mushrooms, right?
Yeah, so it's just a way better alternative to energy drinks. So that's kind of the focus, is helping people, get rid of the cans that have so many toxic ingredients, and then going towards a more natural. They're creating a formula right now that's all organic, but it is pretty dang clean. And they'll have an even better option. But I mean, it's like, night and day difference. So if you have a husband addicted to energy drinks, switch over.
The organic Buffed.
Well, there's like the nootropics in it. So you're helping in so many different ways and not just the caffeine.
Feeding your body and brain energy. Yeah. I love that.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, those energy drinks are insane. They're crazy. Chemicals. I
used to drink them and now I'm like, I cannot believe I drank that. Oh my gosh.
It's so wild when I see one in someone's hand. I'm like, oh man, they don't know.
I know. Okay. Or they do know and they just keep choosing into it.
Yeah, maybe they do know.
Yeah. I don't know.
If you're consciously choosing into the energy drinks and you know what the chemicals are, what? 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 Who are you? I'm just kidding. Keep going, but yeah, okay. We're here to detox you. Don't worry. Okay. I love it. I love everything that you've aligned to and that you're doing. And I love always your hair is always cute. You always have different colors. And when you were working with me, was it shaved?
Yeah. So really I had just shaved my head. And I was starting to grow it back. So it was that pretty. First detox, it was literally like probably that long, and it was brown. Yeah. My natural hair color, apparently. Yeah. I didn't know that until I shaved it.
Oh, because you just always have color in.
I always had color, and so apparently my hair switched from blonde to brown. Okay, over the last 10 years.
Yeah.
So
it does that
it does that.
Yeah. Thank you everyone for listening, for joining. Jalynn, if anyone wants to get a hold of you, follow you, listen to your podcast, like where can they find you and connect?
So I'm on social media at Jalynn Schroeder.
Okay.
It's Jallynn. And my podcast is called The Real Cosmic Joke.
The Real Cosmic Joke.
Yep.
I love that.
Thanks. Having fun with the crazy human experience.
Yeah, it is a good one,
Yeah.
a crazy one. And I'm so glad we're here and connecting together.
Me too.
Thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Yeah,
thank you for continuing to detox, align, and help others heal themselves. Good work.
I'm here for this journey.
Thank you, everyone, for joining in. Until next time. Mwah.
Bye.